Thank you, Vice Chairman. The respected member Sudha Murthy ji has brought the resolution, which is definitely we are discussing the future of early childhood education in India, and is very welcome. As much as I appreciate and support the resolution, I wish to place on before the House the concerns as well. At a time when the world recognizes early childhood as the most critical phase of human development, our nation is witnessing an unfortunate distortion of both policy intent and educational purpose. The National Education Policy 2020 places early childhood care and education at the heart of India's educational vision, at least that is being told. It acknowledges that early years from ages 3 to 8 form the foundational stage. Not just that, it recognizes that the first years determine the learning outcomes for the rest of life. Moreover, our Constitution, through the Directive Principles and Right to Education Act, Section 11, brought by UPA government, clearly mandates early childhood care and education as an essential component of the educational framework. These are not optional provisions. They reflect a constitutional promise, a promise of India's youngest citizens. But, Madam, what happens when sound policy is hijacked by narrow political interest? What happens when early childhood education becomes a soft target for ideological imprinting? What happens when the innocence of children is exploited as a laboratory of manufacturing loyal minds? Today, the early childhood care education framework is being used not for nurturing curiosity and compassion, but for cultivating conformity to a single political ideology. The nation is concerned about what is going to take place under the shield of promoting early childhood education. The ground reality today is deeply disturbing. Instead of strengthening scientific pedagogy, the nation sees centralized content control over early childhood learning materials, politicized narratives inserted into picture books and fundamental curricula, lingering attempts to rewrite cultural memory through saffronized storytelling, the use of early childhood spaces to sanitize caste narratives and distort history, rather than nurturing independent thinking. We are encouraging premature ideological imprinting. Regarding this, the distorting history, now I wish to say about something which this Parliament, this Rajya Sabha, this House discussed few days back very in detail. How history is being used or being created by the ruling dispensation is an example which I wish to give. When wrong facts are being brought in and made to look like they are the real history. I wish to ask that the invention of date of composition of Vande Mataram on Akshaya Navami, 7th November 1885. There is no historical record that Vande Mataram was written on 7th November 1885. It is BJP's invention. Recently, the Parliament and country witnessed how this ruling dispensation is creating history in that. Let me explain. First, subject is this: how the young minds are being corrupted is the big discussion that is being happening. The fundamental, if you make it a fundamental right. Madam, first the government created the story as to when Bankim Chandra Chatterjee wrote Vande Mataram.
Whatever is there on the subject will not go on record.
Madam, in the press release given by government last month, to be precise, on 6th November, it said Bankim Chandra Chatterjee on 7th November 1875, that is on the day of Akshaya Navami, Vande Mataram was written.
Speak on the subject.
And that is how they create. And Vande Mataram as part of literary journal,
Whatever
as part of Anand Madam novel. And thereafter, on 7th November 2025, Prime Minister inaugurated 150th year of Vande Mataram. So how is it history in question? Let me explain. Those who have...
1 second, please. Point of order.
Ma'am, how the young minds are getting corrupted is what I'm saying. We are talking about future of education in our country. And let me explain. So I wish to say, ma'am, the history is being changed. When even Sabyasachi Bhattacharya, who knows in and out of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, has not said that it is on this day or in this Akshaya Navami it is written, why Prime Minister and the government has said that. So, only point I wish to say that they try to deviate the history.
On the subject will not go on record.
Ma'am, so again coming back to early child care, this centralized content and not giving the real content is definitely affecting, and so this cannot go on. So, as far as we are concerned, the saffronized historical content, books for kindergarten and foundational classes are beginning to carry selective stories glorifying one cultural stream while ignoring India's plural heritage. Sir, ma'am, secondly, sanitization of science. Instead of encouraging scientific temperament as mandated by our constitution, early education introduced concepts that blur the line between the mythology and evidence-based knowledge. Ma'am, third, marginalization of minority cultures. The diversity that defines India is reduced. So all these I'm trying to convey the message. When we are talking about early education and care for children, we should be concerned about what they are being taught. Definitely that period of 6 years, below 6 years is a age where the brain develops. They should be given the knowledge priority. I agree with Sudha Murthy ji when she says it should be the fundamental right. Definitely it should be made a fundamental right. They are our future. They are the future of our country. But when facts are being distorted, when the history is not being said in the way it should be said, we fear that even at the age of 6 years, below 6 years also, they are being affected. So even who deals with these people, these 6-year students, 6-year children, they take care of Anganwadi workers. What is the plight of Anganwadi workers? They keep asking for more wage increase, but that doesn't happen in our country. Ma'am, and also I wish to say another thing is when we are talking about early childhood care, as a citizen of India, I am concerned also about when the government says, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. They say that slogan, but what happens to the little girls that 2 weeks back, a 6-year-old was raped in Madhya Pradesh. We have not forgotten how the girl, one 8-month-old baby was raped in the national capital. We have not forgotten what happened to Katwa girl. So the education is important. Their well-being is important, protection is important, safety is important. So as far as we are concerned, the fundamental right to life, that fundamental, to change this right to education till the age of 6 years, it should be definitely made a fundamental right. We support it. At the same time, we should also make sure that what is the correct method of teaching should be given to the children while providing that necessary care. I appreciate Sudha Murthy ji for bringing it this resolution in the interest of the children, millions of children in our country. Thank you.